in Pasadena, which I'm really proud of. The young men who have already graduated, but also the ones who just did. And they continue to do a great job academically in a really competitive environment in the university. As far as practices go, today will be our 4th practice. We're having another camp-type practice, preparing for the Rose Bowl, preparing for a really, really good Oklahoma team. We focused on ourselves the first really 5 practices. We plan to do camp-type practices and really improve our roster and try to work on our team from a development standpoint, getting 1s, 2s, 3s, every guy on your team reps. So we've been really excited about the work we've gotten, and that'll continue into today's practice. A couple of injuries of note. John Atkins is still battling a little bit with a big toe he got in the SEC championship game. He's been able to practice, but has had to push through and be limited in his reps. Sonny has done a good job pushing through. Malcolm Parrish continues to work on his situation, and he's not been able to practice a lot, but he's been able to practice some. So those guys are bouncing back. I'm sure most of you guys are aware, and everybody wants to know and talk about the Natrez and Jason Stanley situation under University and Athletic Association policies. Both those guys remain part of the team and eligible to practice. And as we always talk about, disciplinary matters, they're handled internally. So we make disciplinary decisions based on our policies, and the September revisions to the substance abuse policy had no impact whatsoever on the situation. So we're following our policies without any exceptions and without regard to the players involved or where we are in the season. And the Athens-Clarke County situation, the nature is a separate matter, and we'll address it according to our policies once it's resolved. So with that, I'll open it up for questions.
Kirby, certainly one of your advantages of expertise is all the time that you spent playing games like this with Alabama. You haven't, however, had an early signing period thrown in the middle of it, and I'm just wondering how that has impacted your life and the life of the staffs, and has it been any kind of challenge to handle?
Yeah. It's been a great challenge. I don't think people anticipated, at least I didn't anticipate, some of the complications. First off, trying to play for a national championship, and I know there's 4 teams involved in that. And you got to look at it from both perspectives, from the perspective of us as coaches, and then also the kids. And I'm all about, if it benefits them, then it's for a better cause. I think there's going to probably be 20 to 30% of the people who sign Wednesday that this is a beneficial process. But there's a lot of other kids that feel rushed, that feel like they're making decisions amidst a sea of coaching changes, and they're having to hurry up and make a decision and not really getting a chance to develop relationships with the people to the place they're going. And I think the public perception is you choose a school and you go to the school. You don't necessarily go to a coach. And everybody can say that until it's your son or your daughter, and you're having to meet these coaches. You make decisions based on relationships. And the time frame with which we're having to make these decisions for the kids is really stressful on them. But I think when you look at from the coaching side, we can get used to it. But I think also with the advent of the 10th coach in the same year as the early signing period, it makes it really complicated. Because now you've got a lot of coaches that are going to be moving possibly after all the kids sign. And that's a lot of the problem that people complained about before, is that guys move after kids sign. So it's been a difficult process for certain, and a little bit of that complicated by the fact that we played in the SEC championship game, and we lost a week of recruiting, and then signing day is basically upon us. I mean, it's 2 days, right? So it's here. So it has been very complicated, and you'd like to look into it and see who did it actually benefit and how many did it benefit.
Do you expect Kevin Cherry to be coaching you guys through the playoff while still dealing with responsibilities he might have as a new job Tennessee?
Absolutely. Kevin, when he got the opportunity he got, which I'm really proud for him and his opportunity, the first thing he said, he wanted to finish it out right, and we want him to. So he's done a tremendous job with our outside linebacker group, and he always has. And, it's important for us to be at our best in this college football playoff. Well, if it wasn't important to have him, why would we have him here all year? So he's been here and he's helped these guys develop, helped the young players develop. And I got a lot of respect for Kevin, and watched him go through the high school ranks, watched him do it in Alabama, watched him do it at South Alabama. So I'm excited for his opportunity. And he did finish up at Tennessee on their official visit weekend, so he wasn't here for a couple practices. But he's here today, and he'll be here the rest of the way through the bowl prep.
Hey Kirby, if you listed, or if you asked people to say, hey, who are the top 10 players in college football, I'm not sure that many people would have Nick Chubb on the list. Why do you think that is? And have you ever had to have a conversation with him about, hey, this is going to be your role here. You may not get the sort of national attention you deserve, but we love you anyway, kind of thing.
I think running backs as a whole recognize that now. I mean, you look at the guys that are winning the Heisman. I mean, there are some backs in there, but those guys don't get enough carries a lot of times. And the ones that do, they know that it can affect their pro careers just on longevity. So, no, I've never had that conversation with Nick, nor do I expect to ever have that conversation with a running back, because if they're worried about that, then they're probably not worried about us winning games. And I like the running backs. They're a lot more concerned with us winning football games. And we got to do what's best to win the football game. If he's got to carry it 35 times a game, then so be it. And he acknowledges that. He's done that in his career here, but that's not his role right now, and he's embraced his role. And the best thing he does is lead by example. He ends on.
Coach, talking quarterbacks on both sides of the ball. Talk about, I guess, how pleased you have been with Jake and with Roquan playing on defense.
Tremendous job. Both those guys have grown up a lot throughout the year. Roquan took on a leadership role in a time in the season, spring, when it was hard because he was injured. But he's embraced that. He's had really good 3 practices. He looks fast out there, really competitive, playing fast. And Jake continues to grow and mature. There was times that we were on the road and he led to help the team do 7-on-7s. He's grown as a leader among the team, and I think with each game, each situation he gets involved in, he tends to play better and understand the offense better. So they make the other players around them much better.
Kirby, back to Natrez for a minute. He's obviously had multiple incidents, whether arrests or indirectly. What's your level of concern about the kid for whether he legitimately has a problem? And kind of following that up, if you play him, I mean, could that qualify as sort of enabling bad behavior and sending the wrong message?
Yeah, I think for us, which I'm not allowed to talk much about this subject because a lot of it is confidential, and you got to respect his confidentiality. I have a lot of respect for Natrez as a person, a student athlete. He's done a lot of good things along with his mistakes. And I think for us and for me, I can't sit here and outline and define everything that's happened because of his confidentiality and on the kid's sake. So with that, there's not a lot I can talk about in that situation. Limited.
Kirby, given that your defense has an odd front, Oklahoma runs an odd front, I think Isaiah said that you guys have faced maybe 3 odd fronts this year. How beneficial is it that some of the good on good could actually simulate what Oklahoma might want to do?
I think it's great, but it goes both ways. They get to see our odd front. They play against an odd front a lot, and for a long time, odd front was different. Odd front was like the exception, and now the better teams, it seems like more and more do both, and we do both. And you got to do the one that fits your program the best. I think that it presents challenges because they're not exactly like us odd, but we have visited with Oklahoma in the past. We've shared ideas, so there are a lot of similarities. I think if anything, that makes it more about fundamentals, like working on blocking, tackling, doing all that, because it's not going to be like a really different scheme. It's going to be a very similar scheme from the standpoint of our defense and their defense, and they've got some talented rushers in that group.
Kirby, now you've had the benefit of practically an entire season now. What do you see as the impact of the guys who had to decide to come back, and how much role have they played in you guys being where you're at now?
Probably more than they have been given credit. I mean, I think every time I talk, people talk about those guys deciding to come back and what impact it had. I think the greatest impact it had was it gave the younger players, juniors, sophomores, and freshmen, confidence in the regime. And it showed them that, hey man, these guys have only been with this staff 1 year, they're willing to stay. And I think that gave a quiet confidence to the spring. Then I think the leadership of those, 7, 8 seniors has been tremendous for the off-season workouts and setting the tone. But the value of experience, I mean, you could have a freshman that's better than a senior, but the senior plays better in the big moments because he's got poise, he's got an understanding of it. You think about Davins playing against Notre Dame, playing against Auburn, who were both kind of momentum-changing plays. I don't think you can put a number of wins on that, so I think it played a major factor for us.
Kirby, hate to ask another off-field thing, but Latavius Briney, what's his status?
Yeah, his still in court right now, still going through the process and decision-making process. As we get more information, we'll let you guys know. Just don't know a whole lot.
Kirby.
Yep.
Baker Mayfield presents a lot of different challenges on the field. My question is the most difficult thing is when he breaks the pressure and the play breaks down and he gets out there and starts sort of freelancing and picking guys out on his own because you don't know what he's going to do.
Yeah, he's really elite. I mean, I think he goes up in that category even beyond Johnny Manziel when it comes to creativity with the ball. I think he can make all the throws from all the angles. We all know his scrambling ability. It's not just the scrambling, it's the fact that when you get to him, you sometimes still can't get him down. He's strong. I mean, he's built lower body like a running back. So it's like having a wildcat quarterback that can throw it really good. And his release and finding guys open has really been amazing. So it creates a lot of dynamic for us. I mean, I think we're very fortunate to have a quarterback like Stetson Bennett, who I know a lot of you guys don't know. He's not the stature, but he's done all year some plays similar to Baker. And you know, if we're tackling him live, that would probably be different because he's not as strong as Baker. But he does a great job of scrambling, adding time to plays, and he can give us at least a good picture, not the real picture.
Kirby, you mentioned to the team about perspective for this playoff. Given what they've accomplished already this season, how do you try to challenge them to, I guess, take it up another notch or keep going?
Yeah, intensity. Probably why you hear my voice right, my horse right now, is because I'm trying to make sure they understand that you can't acknowledge the pats on the back. You can't embrace that. You can't feel good about yourself because obviously in their hometown, their communities, and in the media, you know, winning the SEC championship's a great honor, and they'll have that for a long time. It'll be on these walls for a long time, but they can't be satisfied. And I think that is what makes the difference in the playoffs, how you approach this layoff and the perspective with which you view it. So how are we managing that? And you know, we're bringing speakers in, we're using every resource we have to make sure they take advantage of this opportunity. And we're challenging them each day.
Kirby, this is kind of generalizing, but you see it every week during the regular season. Big 12 scores that are 50 to 45 and SEC scores that can be, 10 to 6. Why are there such different styles in two of the, the top conferences?
Well, I would agree with that, except for I didn't see any 10-6 SEC scores because it doesn't seem like they're there anymore. I can go back maybe 8-9 years ago, but it seems a lot more of the 20, I thought you were going to say 28, 24, 24, 21, because people are scoring more, because offenses have been innovative. They continue to progress. They take advantage of rules with the RPO and the different things they use. Why is theirs different? I don't know. It seems like in all the years I've been coaching ball games, a lot of the games I've been involved in have been Big 12 games, been Big 12 matchups, whether I was in Alabama or here. And, it's different style. I mean, I think they do a tremendous job of throwing the ball down the field, up tempo, do a really good job of that. I don't know if it's the difference in the defensive lines. People have always said that the SEC is always going to have really competitive defensive linemen that can pass rush and reduce that time window. But I think, Baker Mayfield's the great equalizer because he extends that time. And he makes those plays go longer where you have to cover longer. But that has a lot to do with it, and they've got really good skilled receivers in that conference.
Kirby, you mentioned in the preseason how much better you guys had to be in the kicking and the punting coverage game. They're seeing an improvement, but how important will that be against an explosive offense like Oklahoma, just the field position battle?
Yeah, it's the battle that nobody talks about. It's the battle within the battle that we've worked really hard on improving that in the last 3-4 practices. We believe in working hard on special teams. Our core unit, those guys that are like on every team, they love it because they see themselves as starters. And it's had a great impact on the games we've played this year because I feel like we've been, maybe not statistically, because I don't even look and say, well, where are we statistically in this and that and that. We've done a good job on special teams because there's been opportunities there, there's been plays made there, there's been momentum changing plays, and we got to continue to do that. And, and Oklahoma knows that. They've got really good special teams units as well.
Kirby talked about your staff, meeting with Oklahoma staff. When did that take place, and then why did you choose Oklahoma as a school to kind of maybe pick their brains a little bit?
I really don't remember when we met with them, but they do a good job. We've always shared ideas with those guys. I've always liked to because I've always thought that Bob Stoops did a great job defensively. And even when Brett Mills was there, we met with him when I was in Alabama. We've shared ideas offensively uniquely because they had some really talented backs in their past. And they used those backs different ways. So, as we've known we were going to have backs here, we said, how can we use our running backs in other ways? That was a big study for us 2 years ago when I got here and this year. So we've done some stuff with them.
Baker obviously gets a lot of attention with that passing game, but how dangerous is the rushing attack going for 215 a game, and how aware did you guys have to be in stopping that part?
Yeah, it's tough. They're really big up front. That's the part people don't talk about, the size of their offensive linemen. They're humongous. They're really big, and they lean on you, they wear you down, they go up tempo, they go really good pace, and they do run the ball. So it's not like it's just it's a great RPO offense. They do a tremendous job. He always has. I remember watching East Carolina. He does a great job, but you do have to stop the run, and they've got good backs with which to do it.
Kirby, from a defensive perspective, when you're going against a guy like Baker Mayfield, how do you balance, rushing the passer and getting after the quarterback versus keeping contained and keeping him from scrambling and extending plays?
That's a $1 million question. I don't think you're going to contain this guy. He can escape when he wants to escape. So you have to invite him to stay, and he can make throws in the pocket, or you got to flush him out and have somebody athletic enough to get him on the ground. The best thing they do is they make explosive plays. So when you look at them, they'll go 3-3-3-3-3, bang, 3-3-3, bang. They get explosive plays, and you got to prevent the bang. You got to prevent the big play from happening, and hopefully, get some turnover. They're hard to stop, guys. You got to stop them in the red area. You got to get turnovers, and you do have to affect him. But you got to be smart when you affect him because he's seen it all. This guy's not like he hadn't seen a pressure that we might be running. You're not going to reinvent something that he's never seen before.
2 more questions? Coach, to that point, how important is Roquan in this game and kind of as the guy in the middle there that has to keep an eye on that quarterback and watch if he breaks contain or watch if he moves around and the play breaks into another play?
Yeah, he's a tremendous asset for us because of his speed. But we can't make this Roquan Smith against Baker Mayfield because that's not the case. He's not a